Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and I'm coming at you today to talk about how you can find gold every time out, how you can be successful in finding gold every time out. And if you want to learn the skill that it takes to find gold every time you go out to look for it, then listen to this video, because we're going to get into that. Now, there's people around the world that are getting more and more interested in finding gold because the price of gold, it's just been rocketing upward. And it's rocketing upward because governments around the world, not just the United States, are printing money to pay for their debts. They're spending way more money than they have. And unlike you and me, where we have debts and we got to pay, they just print some more money and pay for it with their newly manufactured money. That's what's making gold shoot up, and it's going to shoot up more. So there's good reason for people to want to find gold. And what I'm going to talk to you today about is 5 keys, 5 essential ingredients, things you need to know, things you need to understand, skills you need to practice in order to be able to find gold every time that you go out in the field. So let's get started with number 1 right now. Look, gold isn't everywhere. That, I mean, there's some people will say there's gold everywhere, and sure, even like the rocks that I'm sitting on have incredibly small traces of gold in them, but you really can't recover that. I mean, you could spend $100,000 to recover a gram of gold that's worth $50 or $60. That doesn't make any sense. You want to put yourself in an area where there's good gold to be recovered. A lot of the Midwestern United States, there's little tiny bits of gold spread all over the place. But bigger concentrations are harder to find. And that's true with the West. And, a lot of places in the East, in the Appalachian country. Gold concentrates naturally in some kinds of places. And if you're going to be successful prospecting, you want to put yourself in those kind of places where there's decent gold. And so that requires some research and looking into things in order to find those places where there's good gold. So that's our first key for success in prospecting, is putting yourself in a good place where there's decent gold. Now that may mean joining a club and going out to a club claim. It may mean digging into books and doing research. It may mean, just getting out and exploring for yourself. I've got a lot of videos that I've done about how to find gold. And so one way or another, getting yourself into a spot with good gold, that's our first key. That's the number 1 key to success in finding gold every time out and having success in your prospecting. Okay, so let's take a look at the second. So the second point, once you put yourself in a place where there's good gold, is to be able to read the place and find out what is the place that you should be taking your samples, or you should start digging. Now, here I am at a stream. I'm actually on an inside bend. I'm sitting on an inside bend here. The stream comes across in front of me, goes around back behind me. An inside bend where there's an accumulation of boulders like this is actually a good place that I should be able to take my pan and make some samples and find some gold. But, there's other kinds of places. There's old diggings, hydraulic diggings. There's old desert diggings with dry washing. There's old hard rock mines and that kind of stuff. There's all different kinds of places where people have mined gold in the past. And you need to learn the secrets of every individual place that you go to. So if you're only going to be working in streams and rivers and that kind of stuff, you really need to know the secrets of how to read a river to find the best places where gold will hang up and catch. Behind boulders, inside bends, crevices in the bedrock, that sort of thing. That's what you need to know. But if you're in Arizona and you're in an area of dry washing, you need to know how to read the geology and understand the best places to go dry washing. Whether that's in a ravine where other old-time miners have worked, or whether it's hillsides where miners have worked, you need to be able to look at those clues and figure out where the best place to go is. So knowing your stuff, knowing how to prospect and how to find gold, that's our second key to finding gold in the field. So our third key to success is to sample around. You know, you may be able to read the river or read an area where the old-time miners worked, where dry washing occurred in the desert. You may learn those secrets, but you know, sometimes you make your best guess and it isn't always the perfect place. It isn't always the right place. Or maybe somebody dug there already before you, so whatever gold was there is gone. So what you need to do is sample. Take different samples. Try different spots. Don't just go to one spot, decide what you think the best spot is, and then just dig in there and dig in that one spot. Because if you want to be successful, and this is one of the secrets of experienced prospectors, is you sample around. You take a sample. If there's good gold there, okay, keep digging. But if there isn't, okay, try another spot. And if that doesn't work, try another spot. And keep on trying until you achieve that success and find gold. That's really one of the big secrets of prospecting, is going out and sampling. It's one of the huge differences between big mining companies and small miners. Big mining companies spend millions to take samples, to drill holes, to analyze, take tests, and they learn all about the deposit before they do anything with it, before they spend big money to start digging. They find out all about it. And so that's the secret for you guys, is that, and for me too as an individual prospector, is to take samples from different places. If you find one that's really good, hey, dig in there. I don't want to discourage you. But if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? That's the old saying, at first you don't succeed, keep on trying. So that is our third secret for success. So the fourth secret is to have the right equipment. Now, one of the things that a lot of new prospectors look at, and even experienced, you know, they look at their equipment and they think, well, if I spend a few more $1,000s buying this or that or the other thing, then I'd find more gold. And you know, that might be true. I mean, there's certainly cases where it is true that having more and better equipment will help you get more gold. But the truth is, you can find gold with just minimal types of stuff. I have here a gold pan. This is like a $10, $12 gold pan. I've found loads of gold with it. And for this kind of environment, a river or creek, it's the perfect tool for sampling. It's not the perfect tool for really processing a lot of gravel, but for sampling around and finding rich spots, you can't top a pan. So, you know, having the right equipment is the right equipment for that area. You know, in Arizona, you might want a dry washer. In some area with a lot of hard rock mining and you're looking at hard rock deposits, well, you might need a crusher and some other equipment to crush the rock. The bottom line is to have the right equipment. You know, among a lot of equipment that people buy, we're talking about equipment, is a metal detector. And, you know, a metal detector is something that none of the old-time prospectors, I'm here today in an old-time mine that was worked in the 1800s, and, you know, they had water, they could just wash hillsides away. They could really do some serious work. But one of the things that those guys never had, they never had anything like a metal detector. And it's this technology that's available to us today. And some of the guys that are out with their metal detectors and know and understand their detectors, they're doing really well. And actually, I've done a lot of videos on metal detecting, and you can check those out on my channel. But there's a skill of using a metal detector, because what you have to do with your metal detector is you have to find gold that's close enough to the surface for the metal detector to see it. You see, a metal detector won't see super deep gold down 3, 4, 5 feet and more. It just can't penetrate that deep. What you really want is gold nuggets that are within maybe a foot or so of the surface, maybe even more like within 6 inches. Then you got a good chance of seeing it with your metal detector. But there's a whole skill of being able to look at an area like this old mining area that I'm in and see the areas where there might be nuggets close to the surface. And that's part of the skill of learning to be an efficient and qualified journeyman prospector. So number 4 is, like I say, having the right equipment. But another thing that I want you guys to think about related to that is sometimes you can make your own equipment. You know, I've made sluice boxes before. I've built parts to build a suction dredge before. I've done stuff with dry washers. You know, I've had a lot of different experience. And so if you want to and you want to work at it, a lot of things, building your own equipment can be a real money saver if you can't afford to go out and buy expensive equipment. So when you're thinking about part 4, don't forget the possibility of building your own equipment, because that's a very valid thing. So let's take a look at secret number 5, and that is, once you've sampled, you put yourself in the right place, you've got the right equipment, you know, you got to get in and do the work. You got to get in and dig, and you got to be persistent with it. You know, a lot of guys that decide they want to get into prospecting, that's great. You know, they get out, they try it a few times, maybe they're still learning the ropes and they're not all that successful. A lot of guys give up too easily and just say, this is a lot of hard work. Well, finding gold is work. It's not easy. And, you know, there's a reason why it's so expensive. Gold is so expensive because it's rare. It's really rare. And that's why people pay a lot of money. It's rare and beautiful and very enduring and stable. That's why it makes good money. So once you've found the right place and you got the right equipment, you've done your sampling, you got to get in and do the work. You got to get in and dig. You know, one of the secrets about prospecting for gold that has to do with getting in and doing the work and digging is that gold is spotty. I want you guys to know this. This is an important thing. It's part of the sampling part. That in a creek like this, there'll be a lot of places where there's just traces of gold. And there'll be a few places where there's a good amount. It's spotty. It's, you know, low grade, low grade, low grade, and then maybe right in a certain spot behind a certain boulder, you'll find good nuggets and good gold. And that's one of the things that you need to know when you get in and dig. Even if you sample and the first samples show good, it may not continue good. So you got to be able to be persistent and know that the gold is here and there and some places, not others. Gold is spotty and you need to keep sampling. It's one thing that discourages a lot of guys. They get in, they dig, and they don't find something and they give up too easily. So one of the big keys is persistence. So it's spotty like that, and in a lot of places you'll just find traces, just a few little colors. What I want to tell you guys is don't settle for just a few specks. Except that in most places it's going to be just a few specks. But if you find the right place, you'll be getting pickers and good flakes and good nuggets and getting good gold. So too many guys get out and they dig in and they get a few specks and they just think, well, that's good enough, and they don't do the work, the persistence necessary to find the big nuggets. So remember, don't settle for just a few specks. Keep digging, keep trying, keep working, keep exploring, and that's going to be your biggest way that you can find gold every time out. So that's my 5 keys, my 5 secrets for finding gold every time out. And you know, part of the big thing about prospecting is that it's a skill. You learn the skill. You can't just go out with no knowledge and no experience and just start digging and figure you're going to strike it rich. It just doesn't work that way. You're about 150, 200 years too late. So if you want to be successful every time you go out, you'll take these lessons and these concepts, these keys and secrets that I've talked about today, and you'll put them in your head and you'll use that when you go out in the field looking for gold. And those secrets, those keys will help you find gold. And if you apply them right, you will find gold every time you go out in a place that's a good place with good gold. Now, there's still more to be learned. Of course, there's always more to be learned. This is a skill that takes time. And there's a lot of information from geology to mineral deposits to how gold lays down, how gold deposits. There's just a lot of subjects. And if you want to learn more and you want to gain the skills necessary to become a proficient prospector and find gold every time you go out, then hey, I wrote a book about prospecting. It's like an encyclopedia. It has hundreds of pages of information from minerals, gold, deposits, the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. So let me tell you a little bit more about my book. It's called Fistful of Gold, and I wrote it because I want you to be able to go out and find for yourself fistful of gold. And you can see that it's an encyclopedia with all kinds of information, pictures, and that sort of thing. It's not in color, but color would have cost me a lot more to have printed, and so the book would have cost a lot more. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can pick it up. I'll put a link in the description below. I also serve as the editor for a prospecting magazine. It's ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. And honestly, you should check that out. We got stories and information, legal stuff, everything you know to increase your skills as a prospector. I write articles in this every month, and a lot of other very experienced prospectors contribute to the magazine as well. So check the magazine out. Also, I have a website, and the website is at NevadaOutbackGems.com. I'll put a link for it in the description below, but there's gobs of information there that you will find useful in your prospecting efforts. Finally, I want to say that I really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and even positive criticism. Don't come on there and just toss out insults, because I'll just delete your comments. But if you've got helpful things to say and questions to ask, do write and put those in the comments, because I answer my comments to people, and you'll hear from me in responding to you. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, well, then sign up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so they'll let you know when I post new videos. And like it and share it if again you see stuff that you really are excited about. And I'll be coming out with lots more new videos, and so we'll see you again real soon.